Namaste and welcome, beloved mighty companions.
Namaste y bienvenidos, amados poderosos compañeros.
Can everyone hear Maria okay? Let's see who has their camera on. Renee, can you give me a thumbs up? Can we hear Maria all right? Oh, there Mary's giving it to me. Okay, gracias. Thank you, beloved mighties, for joining us tonight.
Gracias, amados compañeros, por unirse esta noche con nosotros.
You know, I kept asking Jesus, are we having a Christmas theme tonight?
Do we have what?
Are we having a Christmas theme satsang tonight?
Jesús, estamos teniendo un satsang de Navidad esta noche.
Jesus wants us to have Christmas every day of the year.
Jesús quiere que tengamos una Navidad cada día del año.
It's called supreme happiness every day.
Es llamada la suprema felicidad cada día.
The only question is, are we willing to accept it?
La única pregunta es, ¿estamos dispuestos a escuchar? ¿Estamos dispuestos a aceptarla?
You know, I was reflecting on that, the number of times Christmas is turned down every single day, the Christ, no, no, no.
Porque cada día nosotros le decimos al Cristo, no, no, no.
It's brutal.
Eso es brutal.
It's really self-brutality.
Eso es brutalidad con nosotros mismos.
Yet, in order to keep heaven and hell upside down, we accept brutality.
Y para mantener el mundo invertido, tenemos que aceptar la brutalidad.
We turn down the play is to say no to Christ, no to Christ, no to Christ, no thank you, Christ.
Porque el juego es decirle no al Cristo, no al Cristo, no gracias, Cristo.
And even when you start hearing the voice to knowingly do it.
Y cuando comenzamos a escuchar la voz, darnos cuenta de esto.
We're always knowingly doing it. We have to be really honest. We know when we're lying to ourselves, in truth.
Porque en verdad nosotros sabemos cuando nos estamos mintiendo a nosotros mismos.
But through the decision to forget,
pero a través de la decisión de olvidar,
and forgetting is remembering not to laugh.
Y olvidar es olvidarnos de no reírnos.
We just continue to send ourselves on a one-way trip to hell.
Es la forma de descender en un viaje directo al infierno.
And pretend it's heaven.
Y pretender que es el cielo.
I'm just grateful for being shown differently.
Y estoy agradecida porque nos haya sido mostrado la otra manera.
I'm just marveling at the number of times I've had to say no.
Y fueron muchas las veces que tuve que decir no.
No to the beast.
No a la bestia.
Because if there's one scrap in the mind and value in the ego, one scrap, there cannot be any scraps.
Pero si hay alguna partecita mínima que estemos en nuestra mente que queramos al ego, no, porque no puede haber ninguna parte.
Wait. Can you just hold on? In just to finally get that there can never be happiness unless there's an absolute, unequivocal no.
y darnos cuenta que no puede haber la felicidad hasta que no digamos un no inequívoco.
Not a no some of the time,
No, no algunas veces.
1% of the time is a yes to the ego is 100% of the time accepting hell in the mind.
Porque decirle una sola vez sí el ego es aceptar el infierno en nuestra mente.
Either God is infinite,
Sabemos que Dios es infinito,
infinite Christ,
infinito, el Cristo infinito,
or he's finite and death.
o Él es finito y es la muerte.
And all the major spiritual traditions, this is not a big surprise.
Y esto, todo lo dicen las grandes espiritualidades y esto no es una gran sorpresa.
Focus 100% on God and his kingdom. If you want that, that is what it takes.
Enfócate en Dios y su reino, porque si eso es si quieres despertar, eso es lo que tienes que hacer.
No
Okay,
except
we have echo. I have echo.
oh boy. Hold on. Okay, Maria, tell me if this is
I lost you. I cannot hear you.
yeah, I have to tell you, I don't know if I'm going to be able to correct it.
Okay.
I'm looking and I just don't see immediately what's causing it. Hold on. Okay, try that. Is that better?
Hola.
Is that better?
Yes. No, 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 no. It's the same. I don't know. I am hearing my voice. I don't know if anyone else hear twice my.
Okay, is that better? Say your voice. Say
Hola.
something.
¿Me escuchan?
Is that better?
Sí. Sí.
Okay.
Yes.
So we'll just. Okay. So it is. It's God or it's God. There's just
Eso es Dios o Dios.
it is a decision in the mind that that is the only thing of value.
Es la decisión en la mente que es que tiene que ser la única cosa valiosa.
Otherwise,
De otra manera,
we're asking for it. Don't you see that to say no to guidance and to say no to miracles is asking for hell. It's the prayer for hell.
no nos damos cuenta que no seguir la guía y no pedir milagros es pedir el infierno
And then pretending that that is heaven.
y pretender que eso es el cielo.
Jesus, am I willing to see
Jesús, estoy dispuesto a ver
how I have heaven and hell confused?
cómo tengo el cielo y el infierno confundidos, invertidos.
As soon as you get close to seeing that,
Y inmediatamente estés cerca de ver eso,
the ego is going to try to get you out of function. You can be 100% sure. I will tell you 100%.
El ego va a querer sacarte de tu función y te lo aseguro esto 100%.
The deepest of the deep of the happiness, of the joy, the ego is going to try to move you off of that seeing.
Eh, Cuando estás muy cerca, el ego va a tratar de moverte de que mires eso.
A free trip around the world,
Un viaje por todo el mundo gratis.
a condo in the middle of New York City at the Thanksgiving parade.
Una oración de acción de gracias
The only way out, really, the only way out.
en verdad, la única manera de salir.
Well, you can decide at any time to out yourself.
Y tú puedes decidir en cualquier momento salirte tú mismo,
Because you're infinite.
porque tú eres infinito.
But because the belief is, after so much time and millennia, pretending like weakness is your home, our home,
Pero como pretendemos creer que la debilidad es nuestro hogar,
if Jesus thought we would invoke our divine power to just
Sí.
say, I'm done with it, he wouldn't have had to come and write this book of all the thousands of ways in which we say no to ourselves as divine being.
si Jesús supiera que nosotros queremos invocar nuestro poder, no hubiese traído el curso con todos estos cientos de palabras que nos muestran la forma como rehusamos la divinidad.
Just the number of times, just like thousands and thousands of time having to just stand into it with Jesus.
Y cientos de veces necesitamos mantenernos con Jesús.
When I could see in my mind, I would rather do anything else, I would rather see anything else, I would rather be something else.
Y me pasó a mí, cuántas veces quería hacer otra cosa, quería cualquier otra cosa menos mirar.
And I had, there isn't another way. You staple your feet to the floor and refuse to move.
No hay otra manera, tienes que pegarte al piso y rehusarte a moverte.
God, having God in his kingdom, that's our home. And every time you don't follow, you're saying, don't want it.
Y porque tener a Dios en su reino es nuestro hogar. Y cuando no lo seguimos, es decir, no lo quiero.
Knowingly saying no.
No willing. What is that exactly? No willing?
And he took my mind back to the helpful lesson of Saint Peter.
Y él me trajo la lección de San Pedro.
When Saint Peter, of course, after Jesus was taken away, and someone, they were standing kind of around a group of people going, aren't you one of his guys?
Y es como cuando a Jesús lo llevaron y estaba este grupo de gente y le dijeron, ¿ustedes no son los que estaban con Jesús?
Just having had that conversation with Jesus,
Y teniendo esta conversación con Jesús,
that within not too long a period going, no, Jesus, I would never deny my Lord.
y después de tener esta conversación, dijo, no, yo nunca negaré a mi Señor.
What an amazing symbol that is for all of us. Before the cock crows 3 times, you will deny your Lord.
¿Qué símbolo este? Antes que el gallo cante 3 veces, tú me habrás negado.
Here's how many times before the cock crows we're going to deny the Lord.
Miren todas las formas como nosotros antes de que cante el gallo negamos a nuestro Señor.
The question is, are we going to choose to cease to deny that we're denying. We're constantly going, no, God, don't want it.
Entonces, nosotros vamos a dejar de negar que estamos negando porque nosotros decimos, no, Dios, no quiero.
No, God, no, Jesus, I prefer guilt.
No, Jesús, no, Dios, prefiero la culpa.
It has to be every time.
Y tiene que ser todo el tiempo.
Every time your Lord calls you, you say yes.
Cada vez que tu Señor te llame, tú dices sí.
One of my favorite songs, Here I Am, Lord.
Y una de mis canciones favoritas, Aquí estoy, mi Señor.
It is I, Lord.
Es aquí, mi Señor. Estoy
I
aquí, mi
have
Señor.
heard you calling in the night.
Te escucho llamarme en la noche.
And then you say yes every time. That is what it takes. I just
Y tú dices sí cada vez. Eso es lo que se requiere.
that is what it will take. Saying yes every time without exception.
Y es decir, sí todo el tiempo sin ninguna excepción.
Because God doesn't have any exceptions. He decided, He made no exception for who you are.
Porque Dios no tiene excepciones, no hace excepciones. Él no hace excepciones de quién eres tú.
And so it's important for us not to make any exceptions
Y por eso se
in
requiere que
following Him.
nosotros no hagamos ninguna excepción con nosotros mismos.
I'm asking if I can talk about Mary Magdalene.
Y le estoy preguntando si puedo hablar acerca de María Magdalena.
Mary Magdalene woke up because she followed Him 100%.
Y María Magdalena despertó porque ella lo siguió 100%.
She was at the crucifixion because it was part of following 100%.
Y ella estuvo en la crucifixión porque lo estaba siguiendo 100%.
That is what is necessary for full unification of consciousness, purification of the mind.
Y eso es lo que se requiere para la conciencia unificada, la purificación de la mente.
Otherwise, there will be pockets of delusion hidden
Porque de
from Him.
otra manera van a haber bolsillos en la conciencia escondidos de él.
The help that's offered through A Course in Miracles is absolutely astounding.
La ayuda que nos ofrece él a través del curso de milagros es realmente fuera de serie.
Not to just see that you're whole,
No solo ver que tú eres completo.
I mean, it's a beautiful thing. You know, we'll do a light meditation, and the point of that is to notice what's here that never dies.
Y sí, eso es maravilloso, hacer esta meditación en lo que nunca muere.
But to completely transcend the shadow of the valley of death, completely, 100%.
Pero para trascender completamente el valle
What
el
teaching
valle se
offers
requiere.
that?
¿Qué enseñanza ofrece esto?
What teaching pure offers that, like A Course in Miracles?
¿Qué otra enseñanza ofrece esto como el curso de milagros?
What teaching? This is the best Christmas gift ever.
¿Cuál enseñanza? Y este es el mejor regalo de Navidad de siempre.
A playbook of every place the
Un,
ego
lib-
plays to deny supreme happiness.
un lugar donde están toda, como el ego va de la suprema felicidad, la niega.
I say this all the time. I'm just constantly stunned with, and just stunned with the power of it, the specificity of it.
Es impresionante la especificidad y el poder de esto.
The Christ.
El Cristo.
You know, in all the denials of God outlined in, if you start with whatever version he gives you, start there, and then he'll fill in anything that's missing. What could be better than that?
Todas las negaciones que hay aquí y tú vas a comenzar con la versión del curso que él te diga y él te va a llenar los espacios en blancos que tú no que necesites.
The Holy Spirit is mentioned as valuable in the Bible.
Could you repeat that?
The Holy Spirit is mentioned in the Bible as valuable.
El Espíritu Santo menciona esto que es valioso en la Biblia.
But Jesus teaches you, it taught me, I had no clue out of my decision
Pero Jesús nos enseña que y yo no tenía ni la menor idea que esto era nuestra decisión.
of the abject power that's offered through the Holy Spirit that comes through Jesus to give us this book.
El poder que viene del Espíritu Santo de Jesús para entregarnos este curso.
It's just, it's really unspeakable.
Realmente es hablable, no hay palabras para describir esto.
But the question is, are we willing to cease to hang on to everything other than the Christ?
Pero la pregunta es, ¿estamos dispuestos a em, mantenernos
To
en
value the things of the world, great symbol here with the skeleton and holding on to the apple.
y qué gran símbolo tenemos aquí, el esqueleto manteniendo la manzana?
You know, I'm every time I just see it's there. It's exactly. I feel like I'm, for me, reminding myself it's exactly every word in this book.
Y para mí es cada palabra en el curso, cada palabra.
And like I say, there are some things that aren't in the blue book, but you can talk to him, then he'll tell you what they are.
Y sí, quizá hay algunas palabras que no están en este libro azul, pero tú puedes hablar con él y él te las da.
Fireside chat directly with him to show you every place you're saying no to the kingdom. What could we want more than that for Christmas?
Qué mejor regalo que esto para la Navidad, que esté él mostrándonos dónde le estamos diciendo no.
Every package that you open, supreme happiness. Here's another one, supreme happiness. Another one, supreme happiness.
Cada paquete que abrimos, encontramos suprema felicidad, suprema felicidad.
Infinite, unchanging light.
Infinita e inmutable luz.
So it's stunning. It's stunning to contemplate light. It's valuable to contemplate inner light, the holy instant.
Sí, y es asombroso contemplar la luz interior, el instante santo.
It's which we're going to do Saturday night.
Y es lo que vamos a hacer el sábado en la noche.
Because you can have things revealed in your mind about the nature of divine being.
Y porque pueden ser reveladas cosas de la naturaleza de tu ser divino.
And I really thought, okay, and you'll hear the teachings, if you just contemplate light, it'll take care of everything.
Y si tú contemplas la luz, él se va a encargar del resto.
If that was true, then he would not have created this tome for us.
Y si
He
eso
would have
fuese
said, just do
cierto,
lesson 44.
y si eso fuera cierto, él no hubiese creado esta tonelada de información. Solo nos hubiese dado la lección 44.
Contemplate lesson 44.
Contemplar la lección 44.
But he doesn't say that. It's a two-part, a multi-parted program.
Y sí, pero él no dijo eso. Es un programa que tiene múltiples partes.
Because I can see there is it yes, it can be purifying to contemplate the holy instant. There is definitely value in it.
Y sí, es muy valioso contemplar el instante santo.
And you can have what some would call an awakening experience doing that.
Y sí, como alguien ha dicho, sí, tú puedes tener experiencias de despertar con estas, haciendo
You
esto.
know, like Muji's book, Vaster Than Sky.
Como en el libro de Muji, más vasto que el espacio.
Because that was part of the realization in my mind that it was very possible. One of them is very possible that there's an inner voice that knows of infinite.
Y sí, y con esto me di cuenta que sí, que era posible que hubiese una voz interior que supiera el infinito.
Because I remember one night it was pitch dark. Monty Sahaja, Muji's ashram, is dark at night. It's stunning. It's just right.
Y es asombroso.
And one of his books is called Vaster Than Sky.
Y uno de sus libros se llamaba Más vasto que el cielo.
And I just looked up at the sky and I said, am I vaster than sky?
Y yo recuerdo haber mirado al cielo y decir, ¿yo soy más vasto que el cielo?
And the yes came.
Y
The
la respuesta sí llegó.
the reminder that we're vast. We're not limited by a body. We're vast, infinite.
Y sí, el recuerdo de que somos infinitos y que somos más vastos que un cuerpo.
And we'll complain about the body and whinge about the body, complain.
Y nos quejamos acerca del cuerpo, nos quejamos acerca de él.
But the question is, are we willing to see that it's not true?
Pero la pregunta es, ¿estamos dispuestos a ver que no es verdad?
Not do a sentence like, there is no body. Because that's a
No,
favorite thing of course students, they like to say there's no body.
y no a través de decir frases como no soy un cuerpo, porque esa es una de las cosas favoritas que hacen los estudiantes del curso.
The question is, do you want to have an experience that you're vaster than sky?
La pregunta es, ¿quiero tener una experiencia de que soy más vasto que el cielo?
And that God didn't give you a body, you chose to have one.
¿Y que Dios no te dio un cuerpo que tú elegiste tener uno?
It's profound.
Es profundo.
And then as your mind purifies and you think, you realize you don't have a clue what a body is.
Y luego tú miras y te das cuenta que no tienes ni la menor idea de lo que es un cuerpo.
There's a series of ideas, there's sensations, the ego has its little proof.
Y sí, hay esta serie de ideas y de conceptos que el ego trata de probar.
But it's the love of the denial of God.
Pero es la negación del amor de Dios.
It is the precious love of the denial that God is us.
Es la preciosa negación de que Dios somos nosotros.
Are we willing to give us that ourselves, that Christmas present?
¿Y estamos dispuestos nosotros a darnos ese presente de Navidad?
I will do whatever it takes
Yo
to
haré,
sit at the
yo haré lo que tú me pidas que haga o lo que se requiera.
in that level of determination
Y ese nivel de determinación
to sit at the right hand of the Father,
para sentarse al lado derecho del Padre,
to take my proper place as given by Him,
de tomar mi lugar dado, fue dado por Él.
the celebration of the Christ within.
La celebración del Cristo interior.
As we laugh about it, we laugh about it sometimes.
Y nosotros hemos reído de eso algunas veces.
I'm not going to just decorate the Christmas tree, I'm going to be the tree.
Y no voy a decorar el árbol de Navidad, voy a ser el árbol.
I'm going to be lit up 24/7 like a Christmas tree.
Voy a hacer 7 por 24 el árbol de Navidad.
Am I willing to accept that I'm already plugged into God?
¿Estoy dispuesto a aceptar que ya estoy enchufado en Dios? ¿Conectado?
And as we've talked about here, until we see how much we do not want to have anything to do with God,
Y vemos aquí que no queremos nada que ver con Dios.
you can't transcend it.
No puedes trascenderlo.
Or as David said, until he saw how much he did not want to speak to Jesus.
Y como David dijo, hasta que él no se dio cuenta cuánto no quería hablar con Jesús.
And hear Jesus.
Y aquí está Jesús.
And follow Jesus.
Y seguirlo.
Could you really start to discover how the beast works?
Así puedes comenzar a descubrir cómo la bestia funciona.
So that's the gift for Christmas.
Ese es el regalo de Navidad.
The New Year's resolution, the new moment resolution, because it can start now.
Las resoluciones de nuevo año, las cuales podemos comenzar desde ahora.
Because it's the gift to ourselves.
Porque son el regalo para nosotros mismos.
I will not do a single thing other than honor my Father.
No voy a hacer ni una sola cosa que no sea honrar a mi Padre.
You know, to make that decision in the mind of the value of God and His kingdom first, and nothing else is His value. I mean, there's so much love that comes with that, just saying those words.
Y tomar la decisión en la mente del valor de Dios y su reino. Y viene mucho amor solo de decir estas palabras.
And the ego's words of limitation are always going to be, it's too difficult, it's impossible, I can't do it.
Y las palabras del ego, de limitación, van a decir, no, eso es imposible, no lo puedes hacer.
Let's look at this. Let's look at it without really looking at what's before thought. Again, we'll look at it on Saturday. We're infinite, going, sorry, too hard to see that I'm infinite.
Sí, como lo veíamos, es ser un ser infinito diciendo lo siento, no soy infinito.
You know, it's too, I'm just saying things that it's too difficult, it's too hard, you're asking too much, Jesus.
Y decimos, es muy difícil, y tú estás pidiendo demasiado, Jesús.
All He's asking is you ask Him your only function.
Y todo lo que Él está pidiendo, tú pregúntale, tu única función.
To be willing to be wrong. That is what He's asking. You can do anything I ask. He's asking you to be wrong.
Y lo que Él nos está pidiendo es que estemos dispuestos a estar equivocados, porque Él nos muestra, eso es lo que nos pide, que tengamos la voluntad de estar equivocados.
So it's so important to watch the mind. Watch what your mind is doing to keep yourself imprisoned.
Y es importante mirar lo que tu mente hace, lo que está haciendo para mantenerte a ti en prisión.
To notice the thoughts and the judgment of that are keeping you feeling limited.
Y manteniendo los juicios para mantenerte limitado.
This is the greatest gift we can give ourselves for Christmas, to actually notice our own self-imprisoning thoughts.
Y este es el regalo que nos podemos dar de Navidad, ver nuestros pensamientos que nos aprisionan a nosotros mismos.
And be willing to be shown that that we're wrong.
Y de estar dispuestos a que nos sea mostrado que estamos equivocados.
So every time we don't follow, we're saying, I don't want to see the truth.
Y cada vez que nos seguimos, estamos diciendo, no estoy dispuesto a ver la verdad.
Every time we're not at perfect peace and we're whinging and complaining about how hard things are, it's because we don't want to see the truth. That's the only thing that's happening.
Cada vez que nos quejamos, estamos diciendo, no quiero ver la verdad.
We watched this fabulous movie, Marvelous.
Y nosotros vimos esta película maravillosa.
I mean, that guy
Marvel.
was a nonstop miracle worker.
Y este hombre era un obrador de milagros imparable.
Because he says, someone was talking to him about happiness, and he said, well, I just realized I could choose to be happy.
Y alguien habló de la felicidad. Y sí, él dijo, yo me doy cuenta que la felicidad es una elección.
And, that choice in the mind, the abject power of that choice in the mind.
Ese poder inadaptable del poder de la mente.
The freedom of it, the freedom of the decision to choose for God.
La libertad de elegir por Dios y su reino
That's all it is. I'm not going to choose against myself anymore.
es decir, no voy a elegir en contra de mí nunca más.
I refuse. This is the best Christmas present to give yourself of all.
Y este es el mejor regalo que te puedes dar de Navidad.
I refuse to choose against my divine nature.
Estoy dispuesta a elegir, a no elegir en contra de mi divina naturaleza.
This is a weakness recovery program.
Este es un programa de recobrarnos de la debilidad.
This is I am blind, but now I see recovery program.
Este es un programa de recuperación de estaba ciego y ahora veo.
But not eyes looking to the outside.
Pero no estos ojos que ven hacia afuera.
Let thine eyes turn inward toward the recognition of truth.
Deja que estos ojos vayan hacia adentro en el reconocimiento de la verdad.
That your beloved Father holds nothing from you. Nothing.
Que tu amado Padre no guarda nada
That
no
I
guarda
can see
nada de
this is
ti.
always for me. It's always
Y lo puedo decir, siempre es esto para mí.
it's always a self-coaching. Make no exceptions.
Y esto siempre es un entrenamiento, autoentrenamiento.
But when those words like
no hagas excepciones.
I don't know exactly how it works, but they're just, well, the course is brilliant, we know that.
Y nosotros sabemos que el curso es brillante.
But how he uses words that would deny the Lord.
Pero usa palabras como negar al Señor.
Instead of pointing out, here's the proof in the world that hell is here.
En lugar de ver apuntar al mundo y decir, mira, aquí este es el infierno.
to reverse what the eyes are judging out there to the inner looking. It's
eh,
just stunning.
de, de no mirar con los ojos hacia afuera y sino mirar con los ojos hacia el interior.
And those same words, when they go this way and they detonate in your mind, when they really fully detonate,
Y estas palabras cuando detonan completamente en tu mente
and they just remind you of infinite every time.
y que eso te recuerda en el infinito cada vez.
They remind you of your looking back, reminding of the Father until Holy Communion is accepted. It's
El recordatorio de Dios, es
talk to me is the step to Holy Communion. Why is it important? It is the step toward Holy Communion.
porque hablarle a Él es el estado de estar en santa comunión.
Jesus, can I have awakening experience and not be in a continual state of Holy Communion, yes or no?
Can I say that again, Kate?
Jesus,
Can you say
can
that?
I have an awakening experience
Jesús, puedo tener experiencias de despertar
and not be in a state of Holy Communion?
y no estar en un estado de santa comunión.
This is why what the Course teaches is so essential.
Por eso es que el curso, sus enseñanzas son tan esenciales.
Because you can talk about a world beyond this one. It's beautiful.
Porque habla de un mundo más allá de esto, es hermoso.
But Holy Communion is being in the world, but not of it. It's a continual, you're continual in the recognition and celebration of your source.
Porque estar en santa comunión es estar en este mundo sin ser de este mundo. Es la
A
comunión con tu
continual
fuente.
celebration of the love that you are.
Una continua celebración del amor que tú eres.
And to have these words in this talking to this voice until to show every place you're not in Holy Communion.
Donde Él te muestra cada lugar donde tú no estás en santa comunión.
I cannot overemphasize enough how important the voice for God and you conversing with it is.
Y no puedo dejar de enfatizar lo importante que es la voz que habla por Dios y conversar con ella.
And I understood it. It takes a lot of convincing for me.
Y lo puedo entender porque para mí requirió mucho convencimiento.
But to fully grok what that voice offers you,
Pero para que completamente asimiles lo que esta voz te ofrece.
the breadcrumbs back to Holy Communion, continuous celebration of all that is.
Las moronas de pan van a la continua celebración de todo lo que es. Ese camino.
And instead, that was a nice breadcrumb, and you go like this,
Sí,
sweep it away.
y sí, nosotros decimos, sí, estos son unas grandes migajas de pan, pero nosotros las barremos.
But when you really, then for me, I had to follow enough, and then I got it. I got it.
Y para mí yo los había seguido ya bastante hasta que llegué al punto de asimilarlo,
And you can see it too. If you follow enough, you'll get it. You'll get that following is the celebration of all that you are is given by God. What a deal.
y tú lo vas a lograr, vas a darte cuenta que seguirlo es celebrar todo lo que tú eres. Vaya generoso.
Christmas gift every time.
Es un regalo de Navidad todo el tiempo.
But you won't get it at first.
Pero tú no lo asimilas en un principio.
And this must be helpful for me to see this right now. I'm being
Quizás esto
reminded.
debe ser útil para mí decir esto. Es un recordatorio.
So Yes, okay, so I'm talking about this. So I was dating someone, and for Christmas, he bought me a stuffed teddy bear. Okay,
Y yo estaba saliendo con alguien y él de regalo de Navidad me dio un osito.
like primo, a Gund, if you know what a Gund is, okay? And it was like, at the
Eh,
time, I did not like stuff. Why is he getting me, like that?
y en ese momento yo estaba como peleando diciendo, ¿por qué él me dio eso?
It's so touching, really. See, I didn't get it. I didn't get the gift.
Y yo no me daba cuenta, yo no asimilaba cuál era el regalo.
I didn't get the gift. But then when I got it, I was on my knees because I'm thinking of this big guy, you know, digging through a pile of teddy bears to find the right one. I mean,
Y yo me imaginé este hombre grandote entrando a
so
conseguirme
ungrateful.
un osito, eso.
Okay, we don't see, we
Nosotros
don't see
no
those
vemos.
gifts. We have preconceived ideas about, and we can't see the big picture.
Y nosotros no nos damos cuenta porque no tenemos la imagen completa.
So, I went for all the noise in my why, and then I saw it, the big picture.
Y entonces no, yo estaba como quejándome y luego vi la gran imagen,
That symbol, of love and appreciation.
este símbolo de amor y aprecio.
And that's the thing. You won't get the gifts at first. You will not get them. You will not see it as a gift. You will not.
Y tú no te das cuenta en un principio del regalo que es. No lo
David so
ves.
beautifully talked about it. At first, it's like that teddy bear. It's like, this does not feel like a gift right now.
Y sí, David lo dice. Y sí, en un principio no parece esto como un regalo, no, esto es como el osito.
So, but see, when you step into it and you let Jesus show it to you from a whole perspective,
Pero cuando tú te mantienes y le dices a Jesús que te muestre la perspectiva completa,
you want him to show it to you from his interpretation. That's why it's so important. That's why we have to step into these no's
y desde la perspectiva de su interpretación, por eso nosotros tenemos que mantenernos en estos nos
and say no to the no
y decirle no al no.
and put ourselves in situations where he guides that are gonna be outside the comfort zone.
Y mantenernos con Él cuando Él nos guíe a salirnos de la zona de confort.
And maybe scream and yell. I did it plenty, but you do it anyway.
Y quizá patalear y gritar, pero igual, porque yo lo hice mucho, pero igual hacerlo,
Because he's going to lead you to the places in your mind that you need to see through these assignments.
porque Él te va a llevar, te va a guiar a estos lugares en la mente donde tú necesitas estas asignaciones.
And we need him to bring us to those places in our mind through the mighty companions.
Él tiene que llevarnos a estos lugares en nuestra mente a través de los compañeros poderosos.
That's why we emphasize why that guidance, if you want to go deep with Jesus, it's honing in on hearing his voice for guidance is so important.
Es muy importante escuchar esta voz por guía
And really being honest about where you're not in guidance.
y ser honesto y ver dónde tú no estás en guía.
And the ego does not want to do, it's not a popular Sunday night session.
Y el ego no le va a gustar, esto no es una popular charla.
you know, it's not a popular, because it's pedal to the metal looking.
Y sí, esto no es popular porque esto es poner el acelerador al fondo,
It takes courage and self-honesty.
de mirar profundamente y honestamente, y eso requiere coraje.
But if you want the kingdom,
Pero si tú quieres el reino,
the power well, it helped me unbelievably. All the questions were given me by Jesus when I saw the answers, what that meant inside of me.
para que cuando él me mostró lo que significaba eso en mi interior.
Is doing this thing accepting all the love the Father has for me.
Es aceptar esto, aceptar todo el amor que el Padre tiene para mí.
When you grok that on the inside, it like changes everything about this journey.
Cuando tú permites que esto detone interiormente,
I,
eh,
I can see it really helped me start standing in and being more neutral when Jesus was asking me to do something.
y eso me permitió mantenerme y estar más neutral cuando Jesús me pedía algo.
I didn't always get it, but I was starting to get it enough to see the deepest of the value, starting to get the value, the real value of following, the real value of saying no to the ego.
Y no lo logré el 100% en un principio, pero luego comencé a ver el valor de escucharlo y seguirlo y decirle no al ego.
I just didn't realize how much no's I was going to have to say.
Y ahora me doy cuenta de
It's a
cuántos no
lot
he
of
tenido
no's.
que
It
usar.
just does.
Son muchos nos.
But you want this book to detonate in you.
Pero si tú quieres que este curso detone en ti,
You do not want to read a single line of this Course in Miracles without it detonating in you, that it lives within you.
porque no quieres leer ninguna línea de este curso que no detone en ti, que no viva en ti.
Do not discuss it, do not post on it. Live within the detonation of the words in you. That's
No,
what, yes, he's saying that. Okay.
no, mm, no, ay, los 6 días
Live,
horrible.
live in as though there's nothing more important
Vive como si nada más fuera importante.
than every line in this book detonating in your direct experience.
De dejar que este libro, estas líneas de este libro detonen en ti, una directa experiencia.
You don't have to talk about the script is written. None of that. You'll know what it is. Why not know it inside for yourself?
Y no tienes que hablar del guión está escrito, porque no sabemos nada. Déjalo que detone en ti.
Because when it detonates, like one thought of script is written in your mind, you just go,
Y porque cuando
it's a
dejas que
rocket ship.
cuando tú dejas que detone esto, por ejemplo, el guión está escrito, es una cosa así, como un
The ego
cohete.
wants to the ego wants to come in and analyze it and explain it.
Y el ego va a querer venir y analizarlo y explicarlo.
No, you want the conversation so that with Jesus you can go back and say, tell me, first of all, do I need to think about this right now? Yes or no? That's helpful.
Y bueno, porque vas a dejar que Jesús te ayude en todo. Y le puedes preguntar, ¿esto es útil, Jesús?
And what do I need to know about this? He wants you to have a direct experience of the script is written.
Y le vas a preguntar a él exactamente todo. Porque él va a querer que tú tengas una experiencia del guión no está escrito.
And one way, at least in a in a flash is that holy instant, like that light meditation where you recognize the holy instant. Then you
Y,
ask in the holy instant, let me see what that script is written is exactly.
y eso es el instante santo, que Él te muestre ahí qué quiere decir con el guión está escrito.
Again, you won't have to worry about it because it's going to detonate within you when you have those conversations with Jesus.
Y no te vas a tener que preocupar por nada, vas a dejar que esto detone en ti cuando tú conversas con Jesús.
But you want to be in a continual state of the script is written.
Pero tú quieres estar en un estado continuo del guión no está escrito,
Which comes through the purification of the mind through following and getting those miracles, your buckets of miracles that you get from following.
pero esto viene a través de seguirlo y recibir cantidad de milagros, porque se requiere
That
cantidad de milagros.
that is the only thing that's happening when you're not following is you're turning, I don't want miracles. I don't want to see the truth. That is all that's happening.
Porque eso es lo que todo lo que pasa cuando no lo seguimos, decimos, no, no quiero milagros. Eso es lo que está
I
pasando.
want guilt. I want suffering. That's it.
Quiero culpa, eh, quiero sufrimiento, eso es todo.
But the ego is going to say, oh, if I follow, it's going to be suffering. And if I do this, no, it's the interpretation.
Pero luego va a decir que si lo sigo es dolor. Y eso es un tema de interpretación.
You want your mind to get to the point where you know in your direct experience there are no order of difficulties and miracles.
Tú quieres ver por ti mismo que no hay grado de dificultad en los milagros.
It's like Merry Christmas, the 50 miracles principles are alive within me.
Y el regalo de Navidad es que los 50 principios de un curso de milagros detonan en mí.
And I will not tolerate anything other than that in my mind.
Y no tolerar nada más en nuestra mente.
That's Christmas.
Eso es Navidad.
Christmas is allowing your mind to be fully available to the Christ.
La Navidad es hacer de tu mente que esté disponible totalmente al Cristo.
The wise men are the symbol, the wise men are the symbol of devotion to follow the Christ.
El sabio es el que es devoto a al Cristo.
To the celebration of innocence and Holy Communion.
De la celebración de la Santa
See,
Comunión y la inocencia.
every time you follow him, you are accepting your innocence.
Cada vez que lo sigues a Él, estás aceptando tu inocencia.
You're putting a stake in the ground. I am innocent. When you follow, it's saying, I'm innocent.
Es poner una estaca en el piso y decir, yo soy inocente.
Every time you accept a miracle, you're putting a stake in the ground. I am innocent. A miracle is saying, I am innocent.
Porque un milagro es decir, yo soy inocente y es poner una estaca en el piso,
So much happiness.
mucha felicidad.
To accept every gift that this course would give. It's extraordinary.
Aceptar cada regalo que este curso nos trae.
To accept everything that Jesus would teach us.
Aceptar cada cosa que Jesús nos enseña.
To choose to access the greatest power that there is, which is that voice for God in this world, coming through in this world until we transcend it.
Y es aceptar que esta voz nos entre ese mundo hasta que trascendamos.
Until the Holy Communion is the continual experience and the error of thought is given nothing, because it is nothing.
es mantenernos en una santa comunión y ver que el error de pensamiento no es nada, porque no es nada.
And just thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus.
Gracias, Jesús. Gracias, Jesús.
I'm going to open it up for any questions about, well, anything.
Voy a abrir esto a cualquier pregunta o a cualquier cosa.
Renee, did you have a question?
René,
Well,
¿tienes alguna pregunta?
yeah, go ahead. It was just I think it was this morning where he was giving me a contrast
Parece que esta mañana me estaban dando un contraste,
of like how I felt like I was on trial for murder or something.
como que estaba siendo juzgada por un asesinato.
Um, there wa- it feels like it was innocent. I was looking without, like I was neutral. I was looking without guilt.
Y yo estaba neutral, estaba viendo sin ninguna culpa.
I hear yes to that, actually.
Mhm.
Y escucho que sí a eso.
Seems kind of like an extreme sort of thing.
Y pareciera que
But
fuera una cosa muy
it didn't
extrema,
feel that way.
pero yo no lo sentí así.
Maria, is there any way you could be closer to your microphone again? I think it would help because there's a big contrast between Renee's voice and your voice.
Just a moment.
Turn it down with this.
It's okay. Can you try again, Maria, just so we can hear you? Maybe your volume would go up a little bit.
Here I am. It's okay now?
It's still
Better?
very relative to like Renee, it's very faint.
Okay, but I don't know. I have my now.
Mm.
That's better.
Okay. Okay. Go
Okay,
ahead
so,
then.
so did you have anything else, Renee, on that?
Well, there was also something from the lesson.
Y también hubo algo acerca de la lección.
It was like showing me that there was like this competitive energy with God,
That,
like wanting to compete with God,
that what? God what?
wanting to compete with God.
Y estaba toda esta energía de querer competir con Dios.
So, Jesus, do I relish competing with God?
Jesús, yo disfruto competir con Dios.
Yes.
It's a good thing to
Sí.
see.
Es una muy buena cosa para ver.
It's like the quality of looking has changed.
Es que la calidad de la mirada o de mirar ha cambiado.
It just seems so delicate or just so neutral, just
y parece que la mirada es como más neutral.
but it's felt like a lot of inner complaining and no, just no after no after no, just like, I don't know how,
Y, y había mucha queja, pero mucho no y no y más y un no detrás de otro no.
You mean complaining against Jesus or?
yeah, yeah, just like, like an inner, like, complain, but it's seeming like it wasn't even that big of a deal. Like it wasn't that, it wasn't
Y
saying yes
quiere,
to hell.
y quiere preguntar, quejarse con Jesús y ya dice, sí, como esta energía de queja
It seemed justified, I guess.
es como justificable.
So what do you feel like Jesus is telling you? Well, first I want to comment on the shift in the looking. It's very helpful when it starts to get neutral.
Y sí, es muy importante ver de esta manera neutral.
I'm asking Jesus, it can take a lot of looking to get to that point.
Y le estoy preguntando a Jesús, ¿se requiere mucho mirar para llegar a este punto?
Because there's nothing the ego likes better than to make the error real and then try and forgive it or complain about. See, when you complain or we're in an argument like that, it's defending the error, which makes it real.
Porque cuando nos quejamos es quejándonos para hacer el error real.
And I can see as my mind went into more of a state of neutrality and him helping me, he really, and less defensiveness, then he can really help us.
Y sí, me da cuenta en mi mente cuando dejé de quejarme, él nos puede ayudar más.
It's not like there won't be some noise or something like you're seeing, but it's of less value. It's just not being valued so much. You're valuing more seeing the truth. Does that make sense?
Sí, es como que llegas a un punto donde tú valoras más ver la verdad. ¿Eso te hace sentido?
Well, it seems like I'm learning, I'm learning to see the defenses.
Es como aprender a ver las defensas.
Just like before, I didn't really realize how many defenses I was putting up against God.
Y porque antes no me daba cuenta cuántas defensas estaba poniendo.
Mm,
So, is there a question or?
Entonces, ¿hay alguna pregunta?
Well, I was just asking Jesus before the session,
Sí, estaba preguntándole a Jesús antes de la sesión.
like, what it's all about, I guess,
¿De qué se trata todo esto, Jesús?
and just was hearing, it's about being here for this. That's
Y,
such a gift to be
eh, y que es todo un regalo estar aquí.
just like by being here, that's it's like the greatest gift. Like
Es que estar aquí es el más grande regalo.
and then to experience that as in like a neutral state, it feels very natural.
Y es como mantenerse en este estado neutral que es muy natural.
And like I'm willing to accept the gift.
Como si estoy dispuesta a aceptar el regalo.
And just have like no other thought, just have no other thought, but just this, you know, this gift.
Could you repeat that?
Just to have no other thought than just this gift that's
Es como no
being
tener
offered.
otro pensamiento sino este regalo.
So it's feeling very light and very freeing.
Se siente muy ligero, muy libre.
Just to speak, actually, just to be here and just to speak
Incluso el estar aquí y hablar
without all that defensiveness.
con toda, sin nada de estas defensas.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Yeah, that's a beautiful symbol of the fruit of devotion.
Y eso es un gran símbolo de los frutos de la devoción.
Yeah, and he was also showing me like with my joining partner,
Y él incluso me estaba mostrando con mi compañero de uniones
the gift of joining and hearing guidance together.
y el regalo de las uniones y de escuchar la guía juntos.
And then he was just showing me how much I love her.
Y luego me mostró cuánto la amo.
It was just like pure love.
Y fue como puro amor.
And some happy crying together.
Eso es tuvimos un lloro feliz, unas lágrimas felices.
Thanks.
Gracias.
Thank you, Renee. That was really beautiful.
Gracias, René. Eso fue muy hermoso.
Yeah, that neutrality is so valuable. It's so hard to describe because I wouldn't have seen I wasn't neutral. It's like
Esta neutralidad es muy valiosa de ver. Yo no me daba cuenta.
it's like I could see that like as my mind became more and more neutral, like he would show me something and then it's more neutral. I'm more like receptive to what he would tell me.
Y sí, cuando logré esa neutralidad, como que estaba más abierta a lo que él me tuviera que decir.
But that habit of judging the judging and it blocks the seeing, it blocks what he would reveal.
Y porque sí, ese hábito de juzgar y juzgar nos bloquea de ver.
So it's really important what you're starting to see about kind of the mechanisms of the shields up, the rejection of the change in mind, the rejection of the opportunity to see it differently.
Sí, tenemos que ver estos mecanismos de subir las compuertas y de cómo no querer ver.
And it's like hard to, like, I could see that it seems like sometimes when you're following, there's a kerfuffle, and when you're not following, there can seem like there's a kerfuffle.
Parece que en un principio que si lo seguimos hay mucho alboroto y no lo seguimos hay mucho alboroto.
And I'd be going with Jesus, well, Like, I'm following you. Why is there a kerfuffle?
Y yo llegué al punto de decir, a Jesús, yo te estoy siguiendo, pero entonces, ¿por qué el alboroto?
Because well, he knows how it works, but it's somehow like the mind with following is just open to receive. It's just, I don't know, there's just an openness in the mind for the healing when you're following versus when you don't follow, you've already decided you're kind of like saying, I don't want the healing.
Es como que cuando no lo seguimos estamos diciendo, no, no quiero la sanación.
So when you say there's a kerfuffle, does that just mean there's more to see, more to ask, more to know in order to get to that place of neutrality and peace?
Em, Cuando dices que va a haber alboroto, ¿qué quiere decir eso? Que tenemos que mirar más para llegar a un estado de paz.
Yes, and there's because the interpretive function is going to be active when you're following, also when you're not following.
Sí, eso pasa porque la función interpretativa está tanto cuando sigues o cuando no sigues.
When you're following, the mind, it's just hard to explain. The mind is so much more open to what is being shown, even though it seems like in form, it's like not going the way that you want it to go.
Pero de alguna manera cuando tú lo sigues, aunque las cosas no estén saliendo como tú quieres que salgan, hay más apertura.
That's what I mean by like a kerfuffle is, it just seems, well, Jesus, this doesn't look real smooth. I'm following you. Why isn't it smoother?
Y sí, por eso es que hablaba del alboroto, porque yo le decía a Jesús, ¿por qué no está como más suave cuando te sigo?
Because you're interpreting. He says, when you get an assignment, do not interpret.
Porque tú interpretas, por eso cuando tienes una asignación, no interpretes.
And the same kind of problem, seemingly interpretive, it's hard to explain this, but can show up when you're not following. Let's say you have a fender bender. You're following, you have a fender bender. You know what a fender bender is? That's when you have like a little car accident, let's just say.
Bueno, digamos que tú lo estás siguiendo y entonces tú tienes un pequeño accidente.
But it's in purpose. It's just, it's hard to explain that, how when you're following and things happen, they're so precise and purposeful with Jesus for the healing, optimizing the healing the mind.
Y es como que si eso estuviese en propósito, es como optimizar la sanación de la mente a través de esto.
And then the same fender bender or accident could happen over here in a situation out of guidance, and the healing is blocked.
Y digamos que tenemos la misma situación, este accidente, pero tú no estamos siguiendo la guía, entonces la sanación es bloqueada.
I mean, the ego can block it's just gone. The ego can block the healing in both situations. It's just there's something on the guidance side that opens the mind to more opportunities to heal.
Sí, el ego puede bloquear en los dos paralelos, pero como que en este hay más apertura para la sanación de la mente.
It's hard to explain that because, see, the ego will, it'll be out of guidance and you try to get healing, some kind of, let me see if I can explain this. So,
Esto es difícil de explicar, entonces voy a tratar de explicarlo, está diciendo.
there was somebody on a forum going, I was walking down the street and this car hit someone and shredded them right in front of me.
Y entonces va un carro y atropella a una persona enfrente de mí.
And they're going, I'm having an impossible time forgiving that.
Y decimos, yo tengo un momento imposible de ser perdonado.
But see, I can see the decision is made in the mind by not following to have that experience so that, and not to forgive it. It's kind of hard to explain.
Es difícil de explicar, pero es como que nosotros queremos tener esta experiencia para no
Sounds like, oops, sorry.
perdonar.
It sounds like it's the difference between whether you're following or not.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
Parece que la diferencia está en que lo estemos siguiendo o no.
Let me spotlight Mary. Add a spotlight.
Exactamente, dice que
It's a very profound thing. It can seem really subtle. It's very profound how he just knows. He just knows how to maximize healing when you turn your mind over to him. What can I say?
él lo que hace es que maximiza cuando le entregamos nuestra mente, la maximiza la sanación.
Really, and that's why I'm in a constant state of making sure I'm following 100%.
Y por eso estoy en constante estado de preguntarle, estar seguro de que lo estamos siguiendo 100%.
And then, you know, if the seeming thing occurs, to get right to the miracle
Y si
with him.
es ir directo al milagro con él.
Whereas there's some kind of preservation action going on. It's
Porque hay
like
una acción de preservación andando.
the ego is such a tricky. Lena calls it the pequeño bastardo, the little bastard. It's a tricky little bastard.
Y sí, porque es que el ego es muy tramposo y Lina lo llama el pequeño bastardo.
And so it'll go out of guidance. It's just harder to. It's just out of guidance is a decision not to forgive. So you can try and forgive in it, but the ego is hanging on to some little secret pocket of something.
Mantenerse fuera de la guía es no querer perdonar. Es como querer tener unos pequeños bolsillos secretos.
That's just my experience. That, you know, because I don't know. I can tell now why I didn't understand why is it so important to follow it, and I guess you can't really see it till you actually do it a lot. That's what I realized. That's my
No puedo
experience.
decir cuánto tienes que seguirlo, porque tienes que seguirlo muchísimo. Esa ha sido mi experiencia.
You know, I mean, the ego can follow and then still not be following and fight it. But I mean, when your mind's really open, okay, I'm going to go ahead and see what there is to see here. You know, there's some level of openness in it.
Sí, es
It's
como
profoundly different.
es totalmente diferente, dice las dos opciones.
I'm asking him about it because it's his plan.
Y le estoy preguntando acerca de esto, ¿por qué es su plan?
It's just friggin' profoundly different. I'm
Es
asking.
locamente, profundamente diferente.
You mean you have to? So there's two parts of it. There's, okay, I'm willing to follow. I have doubts about it, but I'm going to do it anyway. And you're in. You know, you're in with them.
Sí, es estar dispuesto a seguirlo, incluso que no quieras, te mantienes, lo sigues y estás adentro de ello.
And what he's saying to me, he's going, and in that, you see, you're in a profound level of partnership with him, with your willingness to follow, with your willingness to see, and then it's like the it's, I don't know, it's just more profound with the miracles because you're aligned with him. You know, you're aligned with everything optimized for healing the mind.
Y si tú estás alineado con él entonces todo está alineado para la optimización de la sanación de la mente.
Yeah, I'm asking about that as opposed to when you're not following and then you see some kind of kerfuffle. There's some kind of selectivity, like there's like a little crack in a window to get help. You're just giving him that little squeak to get through to try to help you. As
Sí,
opposed to if you're fully following, he can really help you.
Porque cuando no lo estás siguiendo es como que le estás abriendo solo una ventanita para que él entre a ayudarte, pero cuando lo estás siguiendo 100%, estás abriendo completamente a su ayuda.
I think with me, my guidance is do I have peace or not?
Y para mí la guía
I
es,
can
¿estoy
kind
en
of, I
paz o
can
no?
not just that guidance, but I really know I'm out of it, out of guidance when I don't have peace, when I have even the slightest disturbance, I need to stop
E incluso
and ask.
cuando no estoy en paz, incluso cuando siento el más mínimo inconformismo, tengo que parar y preguntar.
I'm asking, well, in a high mind state,
Y
that can be true.
preguntamos en un nivel alto de la mente, en un nivel superior de la mente, eso puede ser cierto.
But the ego is it's a protest machine against guidance.
Pero el ego es una máquina de protesta en contra de la guía.
When he says you will be at peace, your will is in accord with mine. First of all, you're not judging the guidance and you're aligned with him.
Y cuando no hay quejas porque estás alineado con la guía.
But it doesn't mean that the ego will not object.
Pero eso no quiere decir que el ego no se quiera objetar esto. Esa es mi experiencia.
You know,
Mhm.
because there'll be a kerfuffle like this, but you learn to have the power of your mind to step back with Jesus, then you're at peace, and the kerfuffle's happening.
Y aun que el alboroto esté pasando,
I can
tú
see,
simplemente vienes y puedes estar en paz con Jesús.
because so many times, I'd follow him, and it would seem sometimes in the world's way, well, how come this isn't smooth or the way I expected it? Well, and he'd tell me, because you're interpreting.
Y sí, porque en las formas del mundo nosotros queremos estar interpretando y queremos algunas veces que sea suave, pero esa es la función interpretativa.
Because here's another tricky, this is a good topic, Mary, thank you very much.
Sí, mira, aquí hay otro truco y esto es un buen punto. Gracias, Mary.
This is another trick of the ego that it plays.
Y este es otro truco de los que juega el ego.
It'll play oh my God, thank God I didn't do that because I just dodged a bullet.
Gracias a Dios no hice eso porque, why is that?
It will play a little game like, thank God I didn't do whatever that was right there because I feel peaceful right now.
Y bueno, como gracias no lo seguí porque ahora estoy sintiendo paz.
And it's so we call it in the US, or I don't know where else they call it, dodging a bullet. Like I just, saved myself by not doing that, whatever that was right there.
Y bueno, en Estados Unidos tenemos una expresión para esto, pero es como estoy a salvo de no haber hecho eso.
I'm going to give an example. Let's say you're in guidance, he sends you to a certain location.
Bueno, déjeme doy un ejemplo. Digamos que tú estás en guía de ir a cierta ubicación
And you back down in it. He's showing me one, I'm asking him for one. You back down and you go the other way and you think you're feeling peaceful and relief.
y digamos, y tú entonces simplemente no lo haces y te vas para otro lado y crees que sientes paz y liberación.
But all that happened is the ego just drops the noise a bit, but it's still there and it's keeping the objection. I can
Pero
see it.
y entonces vemos que el ego está tratando de ocultar las objeciones y como que les baja un poco el volumen, pero ahí están.
And it's going to do that particularly when there's something that you need to see.
Y eso lo hace particularmente cuando tú tienes que ver algo.
I asked him if I can talk about that specific instance, but just spend some time with him asking him about it. the ego goes quiet, and it goes quiet on a timeline, but it's raging underneath that and will pop out somewhere else.
Y sí, el ego como que va a estar calmado, supuestamente calmado, pero va a haber rabia debajo de esto. Y luego esa rabia va a surgir en un cierto momento.
The best way I found to know whether I am in following guidance is to ask him.
Y la mejor manera de preguntarle a él es si estoy en guía, mejor dicho, mejor manera de saberlo es preguntándole a él.
And to really hone in on the yes no. It's just because I can see the number of times on guidance I'd be going, Jesus, am I following guidance? It doesn't feel like da 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 da. And then he's telling me now, I can hear it. Like, well, you can't interpret when I give you guidance.
Y sí, tenemos que mantenernos en los sí y los nos. Y porque algunas veces, incluso cuando yo estaba en el sí siguiéndolo, había como mucho alboroto.
But there will be a lot of times on guidance that the ego will not be happy about it.
Y ahí van a haber muchos momentos que aún estás tú en guía, el ego no va a estar muy feliz con ello.
From my experience, that's just my experience with guidance,
Y esa es mi experiencia con la guía.
Because I've contemplated this peace thing, like if you're in accordance with my will, you'll be at peace. But I can see underneath that noise, there's kind of like an even keel.
Sí, porque yo estaba mirando ese tema del tema de la paz, pero algunas veces debajo de eso hay el gusto hasta por matar.
Now that I really look at it,
Y ahora simplemente lo miro.
like an example is when, I was at the closing of the center.
Y como ejemplo, cuando nosotros estamos negociando lo del centro
And the owner was upset about something and just,
y
went to the stratosphere.
el dueño estaba molesto acerca de alguna situación.
But I just went internal, so the world's going like this. And then I just went internal and I said, Jesus, do I sign this document or not? Yes or no?
Y aunque el mundo iba así, de esta manera, yo fui al interior y le pregunté a Jesús, Jesús, ¿firmo este documento, sí o no?
And in that, there was a sense of peace in that deep there, in that union with him. Is this true? But on the surface, it was this.
Y sí, pero en el interior hubo esta sensación de paz, pero en la forma estaba todo esto así.
And so that discipline in the mind to stay joined with him in these assignments, while I can see that now, it's all for me, just staying joined with him when he gives an assignment and to stay joined.
Y por eso es que es mantenerse unido con él cuando él nos da una asignación. Ahora lo
But I
puedo
can
ver, todo esto es para mí.
I can say there are tons of assignments where I was not at peace until I got a miracle on whatever he's trying to show me through that assignment, I guess. That's
Y
just my
la cantidad de asignaciones donde yo no estaba en paz, pero estaba obteniendo milagros.
because that's the purpose a lot of times of assignments, to bring those deeper, take out of the comfort zone and bring those deeper things that are hidden in the mind out.
Sí, porque esto es lo que nos trae las asignaciones, traernos estas cosas que están profundas.
I ask him, I've said this before, I've asked him, Jesus, was I just difficult? Yeah, it's a difficult.
Y yo le pregunto a Jesús, ¿realmente yo fui como un caso difícil?
And he just says, well, that's how it plays in consciousness. That's just the play. Just keep coming to me.
Y él dice, no, así es como funciona la conciencia, pero simplemente mantente viniendo hacia mí.
So, Mary, I think this a great topic you're bringing up, as always. We welcome you.
Y este es un gran tópico que nos estás trayendo, como siempre, Mary.
To have the discernment in the mind between guidance And the trick of the ego, if it's playing safety,
Es mirar el juego del ego cuando nos trae paz. Sorry, safety and what?
if it's playing the game of staying safe, see, and then it seems like peace, but it's the ego's idea of peace and safety.
Es que la idea del ego que tiene acerca de estar que estemos seguros.
Because it can, it's like it'll play possum like that. Ask Jesus, it's pretty funny.
Es como estar jugando. mm,
And I can see it. I'm going to give another example because it's coming up in my mind. I'm asking, is this helpful? It's always helpful for me.
Estoy preguntándole otro ejemplo que me viene a la mente y si esto es útil para mí.
So I went to this program, and part of the program, was had this climb a 40-foot pole and jump off of it to catch a trapeze.
Y bueno, yo fui a este programa donde tratamos como de
Okay,
Vas-
so let's all ask because we can all hear it.
vayamos todos y preguntemos porque todos lo podemos escuchar.
Okay. Was it in guidance for Kay to go up that pole? Yes or no?
Y estuvo en guía para qué ir a esto, ¿sí o no?
I hear it was, yeah, definitely.
Y ella
Yes,
escuchó que sí.
I just hear yes on it now.
Y yo estoy escuchando que sí ahora mismo.
And my mind at first was not at peace, but then I realized very quickly, but then I saw the power of my mind to change that. I mean, this was well
Y
before the
en un
course.
principio a mí yo no quería hacer eso, pero luego vi el poder de la mente de decir, de cambiar esto.
And I've found that to be true for a lot of things Jesus has asked me. Then the power of your mind kicks in. I can't even explain how that worked. To change
Y,
my mind about the perception of that experience.
y porque él cambió mi mente con relación a la percepción de esto.
Is it now we can ask, is it guidance for Kay to climb a pole and jump off now? No.
Y es tan guía, pueden preguntar si es tan guía que haga eso mismo ahora. Escuchamos que no.
Look, if he asked me to do it, would I do it? Yes.
Pero si él me pide que lo haga, lo volveré a hacer.
But it's just interesting. It'll be an interesting one. I'll be real interesting to hear if you have a conversation with Jesus, what he says to you.
Y
Yeah, thank you so much for clarifying that. It just went right through me. I get it. Because
sí,
before I wasn't.
gracias por clarificar esto, porque esto lo capté, porque antes,
Because previous to hearing this, I was really just basing things on if I had peace or not. And I can, now when you're saying that, I can see how the devil, or not, the ego just definitely took it and ran with it, and flipped it on me.
sí, como previamente, como yo pensaba que estar en paz era el tema, pero ahora veo que el ego lo invierte.
Well, that's just helpful. You just helped everybody here, because it's all I can see from me. Every time these comes up, like he's bringing something into my awareness and teaching me something. It's so beautiful, Mary.
Sí, cada vez que él trae cosas a nuestra conciencia, esto es muy hermoso, Mary.
And again, it just reemphasizes for me the value of that voice telling me exactly what's in guidance or not in guidance, or anything from my past that I go back and I ask, if something comes up, I ask him, and if it wasn't, I laugh.
Sí, y
'Cause he's right.
lo valioso que es tener esta guía que nos esté diciendo que es sí y que es no. Incluso acerca de mi pasado.
You know, because I can see how that was like part of the movement. I was just terrified of everything, terrified of heights, terrified of this, in the play of consciousness.
Sí,
And
porque yo estaba en el juego de la conciencia aterrorizada por las alturas y todas estas cosas, pero eso es así como juega la conciencia.
and then just seeing how with that guidance, again, you've heard the scuba diving story. I can't possibly go scuba diving. Well, I didn't wake up feeling peaceful over that assignment, not at all.
Sí, como esto de la scuba diving, que yo no estaba en paz para nada.
But like once I kind of accepted it, yes, the whole thing was ridiculously peaceful. It was crazy peaceful.
Y luego cuando yo dije sí, hubo esta paz increíble, fue
You know,
ridículamente paz.
I mean, I would have moments. I would say I'd have moments like I'm thinking, all right, I'm going to fall over backwards with a full set of tanks on my back. And then there was that moment, going, and I
Y
haven't dived in 20, you know what I mean? It's like that kind of, but it was just ridiculously,
sí, sí,
thin.
hubo momentos, por ejemplo, cuando tuve que lanzarme con estos tanques. Y sí, pero luego estuve ridículamente feliz.
But what a great topic, Mary. Thank you so much. So good. I so appreciate everything you guys ask about or bring here, like Renee. This is deep
Gracias,
stuff tonight.
gracias a todos por lo que traen aquí, porque como lo que trajo René, todo esto es una gran profundizar grandemente.
It's really subtle, some of this. I can see it. Like if without following him, I couldn't see this stuff. But it's everything. It puts the kingdom in your hands. That's what he's saying. It will put the kingdom in the hands, seeing this distinction.
Y sí, me está diciendo que nos está poniendo el reino en nuestras manos a través de esta distinción.
So that's beautiful, Mary. Thank you.
Gracias, Mary. Muy hermoso.
Profundo. Anybody else? This is good stuff. You can move Silencio too if you want to come talk, David, about anything, but it doesn't feel complete. Is somebody holding back? It feels like there's something out there. Something
No se
out there,
siente,
Marina.
no se siente completo. ¿Hay alguien que esté guardando algo?
Jesus, am I willing to put the kingdom first?
Jesús, ¿estoy dispuesto a poner al reino primero?
In honesty of God, yes or no?
En la honestidad de Dios, sí o no.
And then just have it be neutral. If he says, no, you're not, just ask for him to help you.
Y ser neutral. Si Él te dice que no, dejar que Él te ayude.
And he will.
Y Él lo hará.
As long as we're willing and do our part to, step into some of these assignments, and they will be uncomfortable. They just, because the ego thinks, it says here, no change will enter into my world, then that's heaven.
Sí, porque Él lo dice, que no entre ningún cambio en nuestro mundo. Creemos que eso es el cielo.
See if I can find that. It's so true. I think I pretty much said it. You know, you think the ego thinks if no change enters in its thought system, then it will be safe.
Sí, dicen que sí, el ego cree que si no entra ningún cambio en el sistema de pensamientos va a estar seguro.
Oh, this is so good. Here's a good one right here. You believe you are very fearful of everything you have perceived but have refused to accept.
Y sí, tú tienes miedo de todo lo que percibes y te rehusas a aceptarlo.
The only way you'll see what you've refused to accept is for him to show you what you're refusing to accept. That's the kerfuffle that comes up when he gives you guidance.
Y de ahí viene el alboroto cuando él nos da la guía.
Because
Tenemos que
the ego, guidance comes up and the ego goes like that.
porque la guía viene y luego el ego dice,
Because he's showing you something you have not yet accepted, therefore you are fearful of it.
porque él te está mostrando algo que tú no has aceptado y por eso hay miedo.
And I can see how powerful it is. Like, it just touches my heart. Like hearing when David gave us 5 minutes and he goes, you know, I didn't like those. There's a like moments of uncertainty, but he jumped. You got to jump in.
Sí, y realmente fue algo que me tocó mucho cuando David compartió en los 5 minutos que sí, hay incertidumbre, pero sin embargo, él se mantiene y se lanzó.
Is it all set? It's all set to go. Oh, look, he's all organized. So he's ready to talk. So I'm going to turn on Collab Cam over here. And I got to give you.
Yeah, so I didn't want to come up and talk,
Realmente yo no quería pasar a hablar,
but I have to.
pero tuve que hacerlo.
And I was inspired yesterday to really look at this, putting the kingdom of God, the kingdom of heaven first.
Y estuve muy inspirado ayer a poner al reino de Dios, a Dios y su reino en primer lugar.
And I just find that the more I keep going inward and asking,
Y me doy cuenta que entre más voy y le pregunto,
the more I see resistance coming up.
entre más pasa esto, más las resistencias surgen.
And what you just said was very helpful.
Pero lo que tú dijiste fue muy útil.
Jesus, I am willing to put the kingdom of heaven first.
Jesús, estoy dispuesto a poner al reino de Dios, a Dios y su reino de primero.
Will you show me how and will you help me?
Tú me mostrarás cómo y me ayudarás.
And then just to step back, as you said, and just, and Renee said this too, just look at whatever's coming up with neutrality.
Y luego dar un paso atrás y ver todo con neutralidad, como René lo decía.
I find that I put pressure on myself and I feel guilt.
Y me doy cuenta que pongo presión sobre mí mismo y luego me siento culpable.
When I'm not following in every moment of every day.
Cuando no lo estoy siguiendo en cada momento, cada día.
Yeah, willingness to not know how to do it and to be shown and to let anything and everything come up without interpreting it.
Voluntad para ver que no sé y que me sea mostrado.
Because when I'm interpreting it, the doubt thoughts are flying around like bees.
Porque me doy cuenta que la función interpretativa son como abejas dando vueltas.
Just talking about it is helpful.
Y solo hablar de esto es muy útil.
Yeah, that's it.
Eso es.
Just a beast. It is such a beast. Do not convince yourself that this thing has any value, that there's
Es,
any value in this world other than going for God.
es una bestia. Realmente es darnos cuenta que no hay nada más valioso que Dios y su reino.
You know, it's stretched itself thin like Thin Man on a timeline, but it is a beast. You'll see it. You have to look to see it.
Sí, tienes que darte cuenta que realmente es una bestia.
You know, but it's that determination. That's what I've so appreciated, you know, because we can go like, oh yeah, I really want God, but it can't be like that. It's gotta be like this. I'm going for God, and that's it. It's gotta be like
Sí. Y sí, la determinación, y esa es muy apreciada esta determinación porque no es decir solo quiero el reino de Dios, es quiero el reino de Dios e ir por él.
because the entire ego thought system is that you know, to be equivocal, oh, you know, like this about I don't know what to trust and who to trust, and that's ego if you're like that.
Y porque el ego le gusta eso, es que no hay en quien confiar, sí, y eso es el ego.
It's the desire to live in hell.
Es el deseo de vivir en el infierno.
It really is burn the boats. Burn
En
the
verdad
boat.
es quemar los botes.
Like they say at Living Miracles, no plan B. There's plan A, God's plan, I'm done.
Sí, es no tener plan B, como decían en Viviendo en, en los Milagros. Es plan A y no más.
And some will say, well, that seems hard or that seems impossible. It's infinite. That's what it,
Y alguien podría decir, no, eso es imposible. No, eso es infinito.
you're discovering, like Muji says, you're giving birth to yourself. It doesn't feel so good in the middle part, but
Y sí, es como estás dándote nacimiento a ti mismo. Eso dice Muji. Y en el medio de ello no es no se siente tan bien.
because of mixed desires. We're desiring heaven, and then there's still all those desires for hell at the same time. And you know, you have the split. Gotta get my little guy who's split between the boat and the dock. You know, and he's got one foot because we like feeling split.
Sí, porque eso pasa por esta mezcla de deseos, porque queremos el cielo y también el infierno, como lo mostramos en la imagen de este bote, donde estamos divididos porque nos gusta sentirnos divididos.
God in his kingdom requires 100% radical self honesty.
Y el Dios y su reino requiere una inequívoca honestidad consigo mismo.
But the happiness is in knowing that all pain comes from dishonesty.
Y la felicidad viene de ver que la infelicidad viene de la deshonestidad.
You know, Jesus is about one thing: save time. Wake.
Es, Jesús dice una sola cosa, ahorra tiempo,
You know,
despierta.
and believe me, you know, I've accused them all. Jesus, you're screwing me. This is terrible. You're whatever.
Y sí, créame, vamos a decir, Jesús me está jodiendo, y todas estas cosas.
But that's only until you see what his role is and what your role is.
Eso pasa hasta que te das cuenta cuál es su rol y cuál es tu rol.
Our role is to go, I am getting that kingdom and I don't care what it takes to get it. That's our willingness.
Y esa es nuestra voluntad, es seguirlo y no importa lo que se requiera.
You lead the way.
Tú lideras el camino.
And then he'll do that. But what happens is we want to put our little fingers in it and, decorate the Christmas tree.
Sí, pero el tema está en que nosotros queremos agarrarnos y decorar el árbol de Navidad.
So am I willing to even ask him if I'm having a Christmas tree this year, Jesus?
Estoy, Jesús, dispuesto a preguntarte si debo tener un árbol de Navidad.
We're going to have a Charlie Brown tree this year. We
We
got
have
the
one.
perfect Charlie Brown tree this year.
O nosotros, como nosotros que tenemos el árbol de Navidad de Charlie Brown.
Charlie Brown. Oh,
Nosotros,
God, he's a little character in the United States.
sí, es un personaje de caricaturas en Estados Unidos.
But you'll get the point. You are the Christmas tree. You are the
Pero
tree of
tú,
life.
pero tú llegaste al punto. Tú eres el árbol de Navidad.
Gracias, Jesús. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you for getting through that cloud I was. So, yeah. Well, you'll thank yourself for choosing for yourself.
Gracias a ustedes mismos por elegir por ustedes mismos.
Jesus will never treat you like you're weak.
Jesús nunca los tratará a ustedes como débiles.
That's what makes you mad. That's what makes us really mad.
Y eso nos hace poner muy molestos, muy molestos.
That's why the ego gets mad, because he'll always treat you like you're holy and powerful.
Sí, porque eso es lo que hace el ego, tratarte como no santo y como impotente.
And that you have the power to accept a miracle on everything he would show you through your assignments.
Pero tú estás en capacidad de aceptar todos sus milagros a través de sus designaciones.
So the question is, will you accept your assignments and then see everything he shows you?
Pero la pregunta es, ¿tú aceptarás todas las asignaciones y verás todo lo que él tiene que mostrarte?
Because then we know what happens then.
Porque después tú ya sabes qué pasa.
3, 2, 1, and liftoff of Space Shuttle Atlantis. Final business to enhance the vision of
Okay.
humanity into the deepest grandeur of our universe.
All right. That's what happens.
Eso es lo que pasa.
You hold the key. Remember, you always have the key to the gates of heaven.
Tú tienes las llaves, tú siempre tienes las llaves del reino de los cielos.
That was awesome. He steps in. You've got to step into it. When you don't want to talk, if he's saying talk, get in there and talk.
Y cuando tú no quieres hablar, no, simplemente te mantienes y hablas.
Okay, let's go to God. Let's go to God. Come on.
Eso, vamos hacia Dios.
That's why we're giving each other, only for that.
Para eso es que hemos sido dados unos a otros, solo para eso.
Thank you, Jesus.
Gracias, Jesús.